What do you think about some of the recent changes that we've seen in NASCAR? For example, the new point system, making people declare their intentions, like on a get points in this series versus that other series.
The way they've restructured the points, it's a very tight points battle in the nationwide series that I race on a weekly basis. It seems like the points leader changes every week over there. Truck series is very close. The Cup deal has been changing back and forth.
It has, yep.
I think there's as much excitement in the wild card part of the points.
Right now, for sure.
You know, guys trying to win a race and be inside that top 20, and so I think they've created another element of excitement.
Now, you talk about racing in the Nationwide Series on a weekly basis. What do you think about some of the younger guys in that series, like a Ricky Stenhouse Jr. or Justin Allgaier? What are these guys showing you, and what do they have to learn?
Justin Allgaier seemed to do a good job from day one. It was funny, his father, we grew up in Missouri, and he used to be a tire guy, the Hoosier tire guy.
Is
Gator,
that right?
we used to call him, you know,
and that's why Justin's Little Gator.
Yeah, Little
Never
Gator.
knew where that nickname came from.
And so Gator used to work which is the father, used to work his brains out at the racetrack. He sold dirt tires and hand mount those things. So seeing him growing up, has done a great job, and carries himself very well. You know, was with the Penske organization, with the Turner deals, won races at both places, doing well. Ricky Stenhouse is probably the absolute biggest turnaround ever.
He was wrecking everything last year,
I talked to
wasn't he?
Ricky Stenhouse at Richmond last year, and I walked up to him after the Talladega race when he blamed Carl Edwards for running over the back of him, and he was 2 car lengths behind him, and he took out the field, and I was one of those. I says, buddy, look, you're very nice. He's so polite. It's always yes, sir,
right.
And, you know, all that. I said, I'm going to tell you one word of advice from an old guy. You keep wrecking them cars, and you're going to be gone. And when you're gone from Roush Racing, you're gone for good in the sport. And I'm sure through those type of conversations and other people around him, he's done an incredible job. I mean,
that's really the mark of a smart individual who can learn and make strides.
I think he took everything that anybody was saying to him and absorbed it and figured out. And I think Jack Roush, from what I hear, said, look, Ricky, you're a good race car driver. Calm down.
You don't have to prove everything, you know, every 10 feet.
And if you study it, you go back, Greg Biffle was the same way when he first started driving for Roush. Got that opportunity, wrecked everything for a year until it was like everybody, whether it was really true or not, everybody thought it was like the next week was the end of it. And look at Biffle's success.
Yeah.
And winning all these races, championships. And Ricky Stenhouse is a nice boy. He's going to be big in this sport, and he's going to continue to win races.
Now, before we were on the air here, we were talking about a little bit about Kyle Busch, and I'm just interested in your point of view on Kyle, having watched him come in as a very young driver. 100 race wins, which we all know is damn impressive. Just talk about his talent level and what you see out of him.
Well, you know, as we were talking off air, when I first come around, I didn't like him. He was a smart aleck. But you have
Kyle Busch, a smart aleck? I can't picture that.
Well, you know, now he's incredibly tamed down. He's a very, and I've talked to guys that work with him and go, man, he's a nice guy. It's not the same Kyle Busch you think about. It's how do you not respect someone that has so much talent and lays the numbers on the board? I mean, he just does it. I mean, 100 wins in all 3 series. Takes off, goes late model racing, wins late model races against the best guys in the country doing that. So he's an incredible talent. He's a businessman now. From an outside viewpoint, don't know him that well. Just talk to guys that work around him that. Probably for Joe Gibbs, it was probably a great deal that he started his own truck team.
Yeah.
Because he understands the cost of the sport and tearing up equipment and things of that nature. And knowing there's a recourse for your actions. You know, if you say something... Before, Gibbs had to worry about it. Now he's got to worry about it a little bit on his own team. A lot of people close to him says, you know, him getting married, his wife's a great person, helped him out a lot, and I admire him now. I really do. I mean, he's we don't talk hardly that much, but he's nice when he does, and you can't. My God, 100 wins, incredible.
Let me ask you this, because you're a guy who you've run 3 events in a weekend before, and we've talked a lot about how Kyle Busch has never really made that charge during the chase, and is it because he spreads himself too thin? Do you think there's validity there, or is that for a racer that doesn't really matter?
Kid's 27 years old or something like that, right? Or isn't that what he?
Yeah, 20, something like that. 25,
he's a young
26.
guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he likes
younger
to race.
Than we are.
I think what's helping him is he knows what each car, truck feels like. He knows how to relate things back to each team. And that's why he runs well. Otherwise, he's going to sit around in his motorhome and be lazy during the weekend. I think I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The only people that seem to say something about it are the ones that don't do it, and they're not contending for a championship anyway.
Well, then you see, Jimmy Johnson, who never runs nationwide, never runs trucks, and so I think that's the comparison people are making. Is they're saying, well, Jimmy Johnson is focused. He's focused on one goal and one goal only.
Sure. I was talking to Jimmy at Kentucky. I says, man, I am very, very, very proud of you, man. You've done everything. And he says, my life's wonderful. He says, my professional career is great, my home life, and I got a child now. That's making things so much more fun. But, I mean, he's won 5 championships in a row. That's crazy.
You know what?
Unheard of.
I bet you he can't juggle, though. I bet you he can't juggle. So if you think he's all that, just see if he can juggle. If he can juggle, I will bow down. What?
He told me he was an incredible juggler. He says he does bowling balls, 6-pound bowling balls.
With a chainsaw.
Well, now you've done it. All right. Mike Wallace, listen, thanks for stopping by. We'll have more from Mike Wallace here in just a bit on Rowdy.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.